aim to motivate and inspire viewers to enjoy the clothes they wear as an expression of their personality and their beliefs. This is the Slow Wardrobe. Come and have a look. Hello, welcome to episode 60 of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. My name is Linda and I'm your host. It's been 4 weeks since I last recorded an episode because I took a break like so many of us have done over the Christmas period and New Year's. And boy, do I need the bright light of this spotlight at the moment. The dreariest time of year is definitely here in the south of England. It is rainy, it is dark, it's pretty miserable. So I've come up with some ideas to hopefully brighten your days this month, and I will talk about those in detail. There is a specific promotion that I have for my Soliloquy glove and sock kits that I'm running this month, and I'll talk about that first. Then I'll give you an update on my knitting of the last month, and then the last section for today is the Layercake section with a big pre-order that's running this month of a very exciting new fabric that some of you have asked me about already because I've been putting in little teasers. I've worn a garment in the past, I've had it in the background, but it's finally here in its full glory, and it's going to have the spotlight in the Layercake section. So first though, the glove and sock promotion that I'm running, let's have a look at those. If you're not interested in that, I will put underneath here how far you should scroll ahead to end up with the knitting section, or if you're not interested in that either, then I'll show you how far to scroll ahead if you just want to watch Layercake. Socks and gloves. Let's not confuse things and split out what I want to show you. Right, let's start with the socks. So here we go. First sock pattern is just a plain vanilla sock, for want of a better description. It's top down. And for those of you who are not familiar with Soliloquy sock lace, it is an extra fine 4-ply, where most sock yarns run between 350 and 425 meters per 100 grams. Soliloquy is 600 meters per 100 grams. So rather than knitting it on 2.25 or 2.5 millimeter needles, you knit it on 2 millimeter needles. And you knit either 72 or 80 stitches in the round, depending on the sock size that you are knitting. So in terms of total number of stitches in the round, it's not a massive difference. You can still very comfortably knit on like 5 or 6 inch double pointed needles, for example, or 9-inch circulars, or of course you can also knit magic loop if you prefer that. And it makes for a very nice fine sock yarn, and therefore finer and thinner socks than the average 4-ply produces. So this is the plain vanilla sock. Then I have a sock that shows a combination of, I'll put it on the beautiful sock blocker as well. These are sock blockers that I don't sell. I bought these from Tribe Yarns. So this is a design that combines a cable with a very simple trellis pattern. So it's a combination of cable and lace. If holding them up like this doesn't show them very clearly, then I'll put photographs in the corner here so you can see the texture better. And it's a pattern that goes all over except for the toe and the heel and the sole, of course. But other than that, it's an all over pattern that runs on top of the foot as well as the leg. So that's the second one. The third design is another all over lace pattern, and that is called the Soliloquy lace socks. It is a leaf design that runs all over the sock, again foot as well as leg, and it has a short row heel. It can be knitted in both of the Soliloquy bases. There is a merino and silk blend or an alpaca and bamboo blend, and both knit up to exactly the same gauge. So that's the lace sock. And then last but not least, itchy nose, the Hermes sock. And it's called the Hermes sock because of its unusual flashes of rib stitches to the side of the foot. Again, I'll show you close up if it's not visible, but there is a section of stitches that runs in a different direction here. So in terms of construction and look of the finished sock, it's got an unusual look to it. Both sides are exactly the same. And I said last but not least, didn't I? But it wasn't actually the last one. There's one more that also has an unusual look of stitches running on it, because it is a sock that has a lace panel. Maybe I should show it to you like this. See if that works. It has a lace panel that starts just above like your big toe. Of course, it wants to go in the shape of the sock blocker. The stitches, again, I'll show you to one side as well. They start above your big toe, and then on top of your foot, they go diagonally across and then run up the side of your leg. So they go from your big toe over the top of your foot and then to the side of your leg. And I'm showing you this sock last because this lace panel is identical to the lace panel in one of the glove designs. So I'll show you that next. This is the lace panel glove, and what you'll notice with all of the glove designs is that they all look like they're made for very tiny hands. All of them use different combinations of rib stitches, twisted rib stitches, and in one case cables that really pulls the glove together when it's not worn, but then makes it stretch beyond recognition when you put it on. So I have very large hands, especially for a woman, and these gloves fit me very comfortably. You can see that the ribs are almost like train tracks. It's an unusual rib combination, and they are twisted ribs which pulls the stitches closed and together when they're not worn. If I were knitting a pair of these fingerless versions for myself, I would knit this probably half a lace panel longer to cover a little bit more of my fingers, but that's an option that you have. Same goes with the length of the fingers if you knit this pattern with fingers. All instructions are in the pattern, so you can either go completely fingerless or put little stubby ends of fingers in, or knit full fingers. So that's the first glove pattern that you can choose. If you are a bit daunted by the idea of these complicated looking lace panels, then you could go for the simple glove. It has the same kind of twisted rib and that same concertina effect, but it's just a plain twisted rib throughout, either with fingers or completely without, or with the little stubby fingers. A simpler version. Then the third option is purely available as a fingerless glove, and it's called the bamboo glove. Its title is based on the fact that if you see it unworn, it looks like bamboo sticks next to each other with stitches that have been wrapped that end up looking like the wraps end up looking like the little knots on the bamboo sticks. But this glove transforms like the others when you put it on. The little bamboo sticks transform into what can only be described as little pumpkins. Little pumpkins that disappear and turn into bamboo sticks again when you take the glove off. So that's the third glove design. And last but not least, the jumping cable gloves. Again, this is a design that is available either as a fingerless glove, shown here. And again, you think, how on earth can that be worn by a big hand? Well, no problem. Same with this one. And this is a design that goes on both sides of the glove. So both inside on your palm as well as the back of your hand will have jumping cables all over. And again, either with or without fingers. So this special offer is available on the website. You just choose your yarn color and yarn base. You choose your preferred design. You put both of them in the shopping bag, and the discount is automatically applied. Runs until the end of January. I hope you're going to knit some gloves or socks. I'm definitely going to cast on some more gloves. I'm in the mood for a new pair. So hopefully I'll show you that in next episode 2 weeks from now. For now, all I have to show you is what I've been knitting on for the past month over the Christmas break. So, knitting update next. I thought I'd mention the jumper that I'm wearing, which I did not knit over the Christmas period. I knitted this last spring and I absolutely love wearing it. It is a design by Caitlin Hunter, as is my current knitting project. And it is knitted in Biche et Bouche Le Petit Lambswool, which is one of my favorite yarns. And the way it's come out, I talked about it before, but it just works so well for me. The 3/4 length sleeves, which is a modification that I made. The fact that it's slightly longer in the back than in the front. It's got a slight A-line to it. It all just really works for my shape. Unlike the recent Fair Isle jumper that I knitted towards the end of last year, which was going to be for me, and I've passed it on to my husband. This is what it looked like. I'm sure you remember from me showing it to you last time. And now I've been knitting what was going to be his jumper already anyway, which is the other Caitlin Hunter design called the Halibut. And when that came out, I thought, I have to knit that for him because he's an avid fly fisherman. And then, of course, yoke with fish on it. Great. This is knitted in Appledore DK. It is a John Arbon yarn and it's really nice yarn. It feels quite rustic. When you feel it on the skein or in a ball, it feels quite toothy, but it loses some of that tooth when you knit it, and the resulting fabric is really nice. So recommend the yarn, it's lovely. I've made a couple of modifications. First of all, where I'm at with it is that the body is all finished. I am about 3.5 inches down the first sleeve, and the other sleeve is just being held at the moment until I finish the first one. Modifications are the neckline. There are different versions of the neckline. You can either do a crew neck, which is just a couple of inches or so of rib, or you can do a mock turtle neck, which is 5 or 6 inches of rib that would just kind of stand up against your neck. Or you can do a full turtle, which is I think 9 or 10 inches of rib, and you would fold that over. he's not into turtlenecks for sure. And what I did is I knitted about 4 inches of the rib with the idea of giving him the option to either leave it as is, a mock turtle, or to fold it in and graft it back onto the bottom of the start of the rib, which is what I've done here, which creates a crew neck that has a little bit more body to it. If you see the crew neck on this jumper, which is just an inch or so of rib and then cast off, so it's very plain and very simple. I liked the idea of giving this jumper, which has got a bit more body to begin with, a bit more of a presence around that crew neck, and folding it back on itself and then sewing it down, of course, creates this extra kind of squishy fabric, which makes for a really nice and generous looking crew. So that's what I've done here. I've repeated that same technique at the bottom. I've added these extra motifs, which the original pattern doesn't have. The original pattern just has the color work at the yoke and that's it, and then the rest of the jumper is plain. Peter specifically asked for a bit more color work at the bottom, so I put these motifs in, which are kind of loosely based on the motifs that are here already. I kept it in the same kind of style, and I decreased some stitches because he has a 48-inch chest, but he has quite narrow hips. So if I would knit the jumper completely straight, I end up with a jumper that has got a lot of room around his hips. And I liked the idea that it would be a little bit more fitted towards the bottom. I didn't really want to create a cone shape, but what I did was just towards the bottom and the color work, I've gone down from 270 stitches here to 230 stitches. So about 15% of the stitches decreased, and then done that double cuff at the bottom. And again, I grafted that back onto the knitting itself, so it's nice and stretchy because it's been grafted, and it's got that extra squishiness because it's a little bit more substantial than just a plain single rib. So that's the bottom so far. It's been knitted to the same length as the Fair Isle jumper that he really liked the length of. Of course, this looks really long on this little mannequin, but on him it's just about hip length. And now I'm doing the sleeves close to the point where I start decreasing, and because the jumper is all ready already to try on, he can just put it on a couple of times so I can check that I'm not decreasing either too fast or too slow. And my guess is that he will want a little bit of color work at the bottom of the sleeve as well, just before the cuff. So I will ensure that my stitch count ends up matching a complete number of repeats of this little pattern. So it's an easy repeat and it looks nice as well at the bottom of his sleeve. So my guess is that 2 weeks from now, when I'm recording episode 61, I'll probably be done with this jumper and I'll get him to model it and show a picture of him wearing it. If not, then I'll have an explanation why I haven't gotten on with it. And apart from that, I only have one other project that I've been working on over the Christmas break. And that is a shawl called Renaissance Stripes. I'll put the detail here at the bottom of the screen as well. It is a Kieran Foley design, and I had a customer walk onto my stand. I think it was either 2014 or 2015 knitting and stitching show at Alexandra Palace, and she was wearing one of them. She said it had taken her a year to knit it. I was not surprised. You won't be surprised when you see this. And I thought, oh, it's got so many colors. It's got such beautiful fine knitting. It's such gorgeous fine yarn. It was all hand dyed by a lady called Andy Lauk. She is based in France, and I think is their business called Renaissance Yarns? I think so. Anyway, I'll put it here at the bottom. I highly recommend her yarns and the patterns that she she offers with the yarn. It's just stunning. And I saw this shawl and I thought, I have to have one of those. I have to make one of those. So I bought a kit on the spot. She had her stand diagonally across from mine, complete coincidence. And I started working on it. I probably knitted about 2.5 inches and I just could not get into a rhythm with the knitting. It's a combination of different lace stitches, different but similar, and different but similar color work. And every so many rows you change one of the colors. I'll put a photograph of the finished project here so you can see what it's supposed to look like when it's done. And like I said, I knitted about 2.5 inches and I put it away because I was not enjoying it. Here we are 6 years later and I found it back and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm still just as enamored with this design and with the look of the photographs as I was to begin with. I really want this. I really want to make it. So I picked it up again, knitted a couple of inches. I'm feeling it a lot more. I'm enjoying the knitting. It's really daytime knitting because it is difficult because of all the different stitches and different combination of colors and lace work. It's not easy to get into a rhythm of it and you really need to know what you're doing. I have by now memorized some of the lace stitches, but not all of them. So you have to have your paperwork with you as well. And I don't knit by day that often. So progress is going to be slow. And considering that I've already taken 6 years to get to this point, who knows how long it's going to take me. Then I wanted to show my progress on Instagram. So I thought I will steam block it a bit so that I can open up the knitting and I can actually admire it myself as well and put a nice photograph on Instagram. And it was at that point that I thought, it looks really nice, but it doesn't look like the pictures. What has happened? So normally when I knit any pattern really, whether it's color work or lace work, my gauge tends to be slightly bigger. I'm a very loose knitter, so my gauge ends up bigger than the pattern prescribes. In this case, my gauge is smaller, and not just a bit smaller, but a huge amount smaller. I don't know why. I'm knitting with the prescribed needle size, which is 2 millimeters. It's very, very fine lace yarn, as you can see. And the resulting fabric is beautiful. I really like the way it looks. But it is tiny compared to what it's supposed to look like, and I have no idea why. So I said on Instagram, what shall I do? Shall I rip back? Normally, with something like this happens, I don't think about it twice. I just rip it back. In terms of working hours, it's between 30 and 35 hours in this so far. So I tend to rip it back, start again, get it right. But I wasn't convinced of whether I should do that. I thought I can either rip it back or I can just keep going as it is. Or maybe I should gradually increase the needle size so I get a little bit closer to the intended gauge. And then either one end of my shawl looks more like a scarf and just comes in, or maybe I do that at both ends. What shall I do? So I asked people's opinion, and opinions were very split. There were people who said, oh no, you're not gonna pull that back. You're not gonna rip that out. Just keep going, it's beautiful. And other people said, rip it. And that seemed to be the polarized opinion. It was either rip it out and start again, or oh no, keep going, don't change a thing. So then I started wondering why I was considering keeping going, and why didn't I just rip back? It's not the hang up about the number of hours that I've got in it. So why am I not ripping back? And I worked it out. I want this to be something that I can throw on all the time, anytime, that I can wear with anything, that I can wear to death, really, because I love it so much with all the different colors that it'll have in it. And if I knit it in the gauge that it's supposed to have, it'll be about 1.5 times as wide, and the open work, the open lace work, will be much more open, and it is very fine yarn, so it'll be very ethereal, it'll be super light, it'll scrunch down to nothing, but it'll also be very delicate, and that's my reservation. I want to be able to wear this to death, and I don't think I will if it is so delicate. Now, the fabric that I've got at the moment, I love it. It's beautiful. The thing that I have noticed is that my gauge seems to be slightly tighter than that first couple of inches. So I would like to open that up a little bit. And I think I've worked out why it's slightly tighter. Because I've got all my yarn wound on these bobbins. These are plastic bobbins that you can open up, and you can wind a certain amount of yarn on it, and then you close them, and then it holds the yarn, so it stops it from unwinding, but they have a little bit of weight to them. And I think when I knitted the first couple of inches, I had more of the bobbins unwound and have the bobbins lying in my lap, and now that I've restarted it, I have less yarn out of the bobbin, and the bobbins are hanging from my work more. So I think that is pulling my yarn a little bit tighter as I'm knitting, rather than having the yarn completely open and loose. It doesn't account for the huge difference in gauge, but I think it just about accounts for the difference in gauge between the first couple of inches and the inches that I've just done over Christmas. So what I've decided to do is unwind my yarn a little bit, so I don't have bobbins, the weight of the bobbin hanging there while I'm knitting and pulling my yarn, my work tighter. And I'm going to go up 1 needle size. I'm going to go from 2mm to 2¼ and I'm going to make sure that my yarn is loose. But apart from that, I'm going to stick with it, guys. I'm not going to rip it all back, because I hope to end up with something that I can wear to death and not have to worry about being too delicate. So, decision made. I have no idea how often I'll be able to give you updates on this, because this is going to be slow going. Only daytime knitting, which I don't do that often, like I said. But I'm very excited to be working on it again. And I'll be sure to keep you in the loop. That's it for knitting this time. Let's move on, and let me finally reveal my big Layercake introduction of January. I know you've been waiting for this reveal, this episode. The color that I'm wearing is going to be a little bit of a giveaway as to what comes next. Before I change, I'm just going to quickly show you that what I'm wearing is a size 2 of the Love Dress in the violet linen, which is one of the heavier weight linens. So it's a great one for colder weather, whereas the medium weight is great for into summer. This is nicer for like autumn and winter, and into spring as well, to be honest, in England. And I think it is only in the warmest months of the year that you might find this linen a little bit too much, especially with the sleeves. But the reason I wanted to show you in the size 2 is that it does the same thing that the like smocks and tabards and the other layer cakes do if you wear them oversized. It just kind of goes into a flowy shape, and it makes for of course, an extremely comfortable garment to wear. And the dress that I'm going to wear next is a size 1, so you'll be able to see the difference. I know that a lot of you tend to want to wear your layer cakes more fitted, but I keep making a plea for wearing them oversized. And as long as we get the fit right in terms of these necklines, for example, so the whole thing doesn't start slipping off you, then it should really work. You can tell this is the regular length as well, so this is the longer length in the size 2. It just makes for a great alternative to a more fitted version, or something to keep in mind if you're in the process of losing weight, for example. You don't have to worry if you go down a size in Layercake that you can't wear your layer cakes anymore. It's only when your weight loss gets very dramatic and we're, talking about more than 3 stone, for example, or saying it in kilos, if we're going in the direction of more than 20 kilos, then you may want to go down more than one size. But in a lot of cases, I am, for example, at the moment, I am a size 18 up top and a size 20 down below. I've gone up a complete dress size in the last year or so. And as a result, the size 1 layer cakes still fit me, but I'm creeping closer to being on the cusp of between a size 1 and a size 2. Now, I'm doing something about that. As with so many people in January, I've gone dry January, and I'm going to push that weight back down. And it's not purely for aesthetics, it's also just for health reasons, and the extra strain that it puts on my heart and on my joints and whatever. So doing something about it, but still, the point remains the same. I am wearing layer cake size 1s most of the time, but I've got some size 2s as well. And it's not purely to accommodate my bigger body, but also because I like the look and the feel of having really roomy garments on. Okay, enough of a ramble. This is not at all what this section was going to be about. Here we go. Finally, the large check that you've been waiting for and that I've been teasing you with in a love dress. Here it is. Size 1. Size 1, regular length, love dress in the brand new large purple check. I have been test wearing this dress, hence all the pleats and folds that you can see, because like with all new layer cakes, we test garments to see whether the strains on the seams are all correct, whether our approach as to cut and wear and everything works. So you don't just receive a garment that has been pre-shrunk. You also receive a garment that has been tested in terms of its pattern and fit and durability. So, size 1, regular length. As you can see, it looks fantastic when worn with violet. In this case, the violet palazzos. And I encourage you, if you like that combination, to consider ordering a violet garment with it. Of course, we have the palazzo trousers, but we also, for example, have the smock. Let me show you a smock. Violet smock, violet palazzos, and the new large check love dress. As you can see, the cut of the smock and the love dress are such that they are perfect worn on top of each other. That of course goes for the tabard as well. I'll quickly show you a tabard in a slightly different color. That's also really good with this large check. Tabard in the blue cross weave, of course. The blue is fab in combination with this new large check. And of course we have this as a smock and a tabard. We have it as a play suit to go under one of the dresses. And then I thought, well, actually, maybe because the combination of baggies and a love dress is such a nice combination, maybe what I'll do for this particular pre-order of the large check in the love dresses is add a one-off, just limited edition completely, it's just for this production run, pre-order of the blue cross weave baggies. So you don't have to order those in combination with the large check love dress, but that pre-order will run at the same time. And it's just because it's such a nice combination with the large check. So what I'll do, because I'm wearing the palazzos in the violet here, is I'll swap those for a play suit in the blue, because I haven't got any baggies in the blue yet. But if I show you a play suit in the blue cross underneath the dress, then it really illustrates the point that I'm trying to make as to how well they go together. Let me go and change that into that and show you the difference. So I've taken the tabard off so you can see more of this check again and discover some of the exciting colors that are in it, some more of the exciting colors. I've been talking about purple and blue, and here is a blue cross play suit, purely to illustrate that if you've already got one of them, then that's of course fantastic in combination with one of these dresses. But imagine that being a pair of baggies in the blue, and of course would look great with the dress. Now the other color that is big in this dress is of course teal. You can see here there's a teal stripe that goes across it, and depending on which color it's being blended with, it picks up on some of the teals in the collection. Let's start by showing you this dress in combination with dark teal. Dark teal. This is a size 2 smock. So you can see that it's ever so slightly longer than the size 1 that I was wearing in the violet. Of course you get the extra room here, but it goes just as well with the dress. Lovely combination. And of course, this is available as a play suit as well. So if you've got a dark teal play suit, that's another great combination with the large check. Speaking of play suits though, wouldn't this be absolutely stunning in a play suit? The whole full length thing, so you can really see all the different colors of this large check. Shall we have a look? Go on, of course. Here it is. And of course, I completely forgot that you've been looking at a play suit in the large check all this time. This is consummate professional. This is a size 2 again. You can see, very roomy on me. Size 2 long, and as I always say, you know, with the bigger sizes, they just end up following your curves, but they're nice and comfy to wear. And if you're not stuck on the fact that it should be fitted around you, then look, it is great. Roomy, comfy. I can wear underneath this or over the top of this, whatever I like, because of the large armholes. And isn't it glorious in the large check? And then of course, you know, going back to the smocks and the tabards that I was showing you, you can wear all those existing Layercake colors in combination with this large check. So the play suit is part of this pre-order as well. So large check large purple check in the play suits or in a love dress in the pre-order, as well as an added one-off production run, blue crossweave baggies to combine with the dress. Let me show you some of the other garments that are existing already in Layercake and that you may have at home that look great with this play suit. For example, the step top in teal. This is the medium weight, so this is not the dark teal crossweave. This is pure teal, and again it picks up beautifully on the teal that is in the play suit, and therefore great combination. Any of the garments that I'm showing you, the violet, the blue, the teal, the dark teal, they're all available to order, but they're not particularly part of the pre-order. The distinction is that if I have a particular garment on pre-order, then we're going to do a specific product run of that particular garment in that particular fabric or fabrics if they're more than one different colors. And because we're doing a bigger production push on that particular garment or colors, then I can pass on a bigger reduction in price. So that doesn't mean that the rest of the collection is not available. It just means that that particular discount is not available on the rest of the collection. But your returning loyalty discount, of course, always is. And I have some of these in stock. This is the small size. I've got large as well. And I also have one or two large synergy tops. So the ones that come without sleeves and yarn to knit your own sleeves in a front panel should you like it. I'll quickly show you one of the synergy tops to remind you, and it's in that same beautiful teal color. And here it is, the synergy top, the large synergy top. Another great combination with the beautiful large purple check. And of course I can keep going. For example, another great color with this, because it is so muted and so neutral, is Magpie. Want to see a quick magpie? Why not? This is a size 2 magpie dress. So of course it covers rather a lot of the play suit, which of course I realized when I put it on. It's like, oh yes, magpie is a lovely color, but I'm almost completely covering the play suit. So without further ado, I'll swap them around, because you can wear a love dress inside a play suit. Have you thought of that yet? Especially in winter time, that extra layer. Here it comes. Magpie dress inside the large purple check play suit. See? Because they're both size 2s, of course they are perfectly coordinated to fit perfectly on top of each other. But if this was a size 1 dress, it would work well too. Or if it was a size 2 dress on top of a size 1 play suit, because of those large armholes. So the point remains the same. You can swap and change and wear them, one garment on the outside, the other garment on top. You know, you can play around with that and they all look great with each other. I just thought of another color that I just have to show you for the contrast and to see what happens when you wear that with a large check. Gotta show you. Here we go. Chartreuse love dress in a size 1. Worn underneath, I mean, look at the fit. Worn underneath a size 2 play suit in the large purple check. See what I mean though, with wearing the 2 different sizes on top of each other, and how that works just as well. Plus, of course, you've got that extra layer underneath. This is again the regular length, so that is, where does it finish on me? Can't even find where it finishes. Where does it finish? Oh, here. It actually because I'm bending over, is longer and further down my leg than I was expecting. So that finishes here, and all the love dresses are measured out and cut in such a way that you can wear them underneath a play suit. So if you've got this is a long length play suit, but if I would wear the regular length play suit, it would fit over the top of the regular length love dress without the hem of the dress and the arch of the closure of the play suit interfering with each other. So all of that we think about and we measure and check before we finalize lengths, and it's all so that you can wear the different garments together. So I hope I'm delighting you with this. Oh, you know what? I'll put the large purple check love dress on over the top of what I'm wearing now. And then I'll fold up the sleeve so you can see that little bit of chartreuse peeping out. That's still a combination that I love a lot. Let me show you. Trying to organize it so that you can see a tiny bit of the chartreuse. So you can move around a little bit with where the shoulder seam hits, etc. So you can see a little bit of chartreuse here. And then these sleeves are looking longer because of course I've been wearing this, so it's crumpled up a little bit. But I could also just fold them over to bring the chartreuse out as an accent. And again, the sleeves of the love dresses are hemmed in such a way that you do not see any overlock stitches. It's folded in, so you have a beautifully finished edge, and it looks great folded over like that. Do you know what I mean? As these little accents. And again, sizes on top of each other. I've got a chartreuse size 1 dress, a play suit in size 2, which is absolutely fine underneath a size 1 love dress in the large purple check. So complete long silhouette. If you're not keen on the idea of the large purple check in a dress and in a play suit, then of course think of the blue cross weave for a pair of baggies to create this look and this outfit. Not necessarily with this dress as well, but you know what I mean, making a complete outfit with the love dress in the large purple check and then something underneath to create a full length outfit. And that's where those blue check baggies come in. So I hope you love this first offering of 2022, especially timed in the darkest, dullest month of the year. And I know, I've seen and read on Instagram, I know how many people suffer this time of year and find the kind of kickback after the holidays and after we get into hibernation mode for a little while, and then all of a sudden it's kind of back to work in January, and you know, you've just spent a week or 2 weeks switching off and wanting to crawl away in a dark corner, and you feel kind of dragged back out of there way before your body is ready. That's how it feels to me. So I hope that with this colorful addition to your Layercake wardrobe, I'm bringing a little bit of cheer into your winter. It's definitely still winter time. I am in no way advocating that it's spring already. No, it isn't. It is winter, and it is going to be winter for another month, and that's okay. Before that winter is over, one of these could be yours if you are that way inclined, and if you're in the mood for a large purple check. I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time with an update on what's going on in the Layercake world. And in my knitting, of course, you've seen where I'm at with my knitting, and another update in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.